Hello and welcome to a game between LiquidRet and oGsMC. LiquidRet will be playing as the blue Zerg player at the 3 o'clock position, whereas oGsMC will be playing as the red Protoss player at the 6 o'clock position. This is GG Your Face, and the map is going to be Metalopolis, as LiquidRet cries tears of joy for that little probe is in his base. He knows his opponent is going to be at the closest spawning location as possible, and it looks like some probes are going to pick a fight with some of those drones. Nothing happening at this moment, but there is a lot of APM, about almost 400 APM for just a set of probes. That is just crazy stuff. In any event, both these players are really good. If you haven't seen game number 2, I would definitely suggest you check it out. It's a really good Protoss versus Zerg match, but if you're a Terran player that just likes to play against other Terran players, I suppose there's not too much value in that game, and their probe is going to exit, and the Overlord is going to turn back. He does send an Overlord to the other side, probably to scout the western part of the base, or possibly for a sack later on to get some information on the base. We do see the spawning pool as well as an extractor going up, and the forge is about 80% or so complete. And the probe is still trying to take away some micro for LiquidRet, but at this level it probably won't happen too much. And there's a lot more drones, a lot more probes being produced as the spawning pool does finally finish. He is going to make one queen immediately, followed by 2 zerglings, and the probe is still peeking around inside the base. And something a little bit more unusual, I guess, there is a pylon placed here in the back, and I think there's a little gap over here, and a cannon is being placed. He is not going to be doing an offensive cannon this time, he will be doing a defensive cannon. And some Zerglings are spawning. These 2 Zerglings are trying to kill off that probe as we take a look at the Nexus being constructed by oGsMC. And I think this is a very weird wall off. I guess some people do like to put the pylon at the foot of the ramp, but then that does expose it. And I think this wall off with the pylon in the back, this is a really wall off actually. This is completely Zergling proof here on the left hand side. This nothing can get through, and he does have a tiny gap over here, I think. I'm not quite sure if there is a gap. We will see in the coming moments. I think there is a gap there, and we do see metabolic boost along with gateways being opened, and we see 2 assimilators being opened for the Protoss player oGsMC. In the meantime, there is one extractor that is not being mined. He did get just enough gas just to get the metabolic boost for his Zerglings, and the Zerling still does not yet have metabolic boost, and he's trying to chase down this probe, and the probe looks like he stopped for a second there and died. I guess he no longer had the will to live. There is going to be one pylon powering 2 cannons and 1 gateway. That might be a little bit dangerous, but the cannon and the pylons are in really good positioning. The army size is at 24 versus 26 advantage for the Zerg player, as he does have more queens, it looks like. He does have less harvesters, and here we see something really strange. A drone is heading out, and at the same time a probe is also going to be heading out. And would the drone be doing expansion to the left side? I don't think he's scouting for any hidden expansions, because the Protoss would be more than happy with 2 expansions. And the 3rd expansion, where the second one is not up and running, would just be kind of weird, because you don't really need the Nexus for any sort of production. I guess you could get it for Chrono Boost, and we do see that this drone is sitting there with 400 and almost 500 minerals. He was microing a little bit in his base. He's moving some of those drones over to his natural expansion that just finished. And some Zerglings with their metabolic boost is going to come across here, and he will be met with 2 cannons and 2 very nicely placed pylons. I think this pylon does power the secondary gateway, and he's also going to put a 3rd cannon over here with really nice wall off. Just completely walls off this entire section with just 4 buildings. I like that a lot. And there's going to be a hatchery about 30% or so complete, and the Zerglings are getting spread to get a better idea of any forces that might be coming out for the Protoss player. And there's going to be 2 gateways out here, and no gateways inside the base just yet. And there's also going to be a 2nd extractor, 3rd and 4th not coming in. I think at this moment the Zerg player is going to be at a defensive position, and we do see 3 gateways being opened at this exact moment, and there's going to be a total of 5 gateways. 6 gateways onto base, and the Zerglings are having a very nice spread, getting a vision of exactly what's going to be coming out of his opponent's base. And we'd also see the +1 weapons being researched for the Protoss player. The +1 for the Protoss is really important, especially against a Zerg, because that will allow your Zealots to kill the Zerglings much quicker, which will allow them to kill them in 2 slashes instead of 3, which does help quite a bit. And the income tab does show the Zerg player and the Protoss player about even at this moment in terms of minerals and gas, and this probe is going to run past all those Zerglings. I guess that was not the best scouting party of Zerglings, but they will come back and will kill it off, and there's going to be 6 gateways. That's right, you heard it correctly, 6 gateways for the Protoss player, and at this time, perfect timing for LiquidRet. He will come in here with an Overlord, he will spot the additional 4 gateways inside the base. That is well worth the price of admission, which is 100 minerals. And if we take a look at his vision, he will see the 4 gateways, he will also see this gateway, he will also see that gateway, so he knows exactly how many gateways his opponent has. And if we take a look at the vision of oGsMC, he does not see the base at the 12 o'clock position where there are only 2 drones mining. I guess it's a little bit extra production, but not too much of a help. And there's going to be additional spine crawlers in response to the gateways that he just saw, but these spine crawlers are really well spread out. I don't know if that is the best idea for a really spread out set of spine crawlers, especially when you're fighting against a 6 gateway force. And this queen is trying to spread the creep, but he might go down as the queen does get focused. Not down. Ooh, he escapes with 15 HP, and he does have 3 queens, so he does have enough queens to inject his hatchery if he wishes. And the army size is at 63 versus 70 advantage for the Protoss player, but the Zerg player is going to be making a lot more Zerglings. He is going to be making 18, 16 more Zerglings, and the forces are evening out about almost the same. And for the Protoss army, we have a lot of Stalkers and 4 sentries, and he's going to come in here, and there's a ton of Zerglings sitting to the left waiting to get that surround, and he needs really good force field. He gets off some force fields, and that was a pretty good wall off, I think, for his forces. He wants to keep his Stalkers near and away from the Zerglings, but he's not able to do that. He really needs some Zealots to fight off these Zerglings. The Zerglings are actually tearing apart the Protoss force. You can see the units lost tab reflect a double loss of minerals as well as gas, because I mean the Zerg is really only losing minerals, which doesn't hurt him that much. He has a lot of minerals over here. As you can see, he has 600 minerals. And he did win that battle decisively. I think the Protoss player has lost a lot more stuff, and the Zerglings are easily replaceable. You get 2 of them every single time, and he is going to make a lot more Zerglings. And we see a change in strategy for oGsMC. He is going to make a lot heavier Zealot force, and I don't think the Zerg player can really punish the Protoss player for anything, as this is a really nice wall. I'm totally going to copy that. And there's some Zealots and some sentries, and it looks like exactly 7 Zealots, 4 sentries, and Stalkers, and there's a ton of Zerglings. There is a total of 38 Zerglings, and 10 more Zerglings are being made at the moment. And he is going to get the +2 weapons, a +2 melee attack, and that is a really interesting choice. Usually you would get the +1 armor with the +1 melee, but of course that is red, and he's going to come in here. Ooh, he does squeeze through right here. That is a tiny gap, but that tiny gap is a very heavy price for the Zerglings to pay, because the cannons were shooting all of them. And the Zerglings are going to be able to come back here. He will be able to surround the pylon, will be able to stop additional reinforcements, and these units are falling back. Very good force fields there, but one of the Stalkers did get caught slightly out of position. And I think the Protoss is coming slightly back here, as that was not a very good surround by those Zerglings. And the Zealots and the sentries are going to fall back and kill off some Zerglings as they're falling back. Army size is at 75 versus 71 or so, and the resources lost does reflect advantage for the Protoss. Now, that last battle was really in his favor because he switched over to the Zealot force. Zealots are really good against those Zerglings, especially with the force field's help, and there's going to be the +1 flyer attack. He doesn't actually have any Mutalisk or any air attack units yet, maybe for the Colossus in the near future, possibly. And there's a lot of Zerglings on the field. There is a total of 64 Zerglings, holy crap, and there's 10 of those things are going to be Zealots, and he's going to push forward here. He is going to micro his way into the heart of this Zerg, or into the heart of his swarm, and he is going to fall back. And some more drones are being miners here, and it looks like about 8 or so drones, and there's going to be a huge fight here. This queen is going to go down. His opponent is supply block at the moment, so it's going to be 77 versus 97. He has really good force fields here, forcing these Zerglings to come into a choke. Now these Zealots are working on those Zerglings. Just really good play there, and now he's going to fall back to possibly replenish his shield a little bit, and he is going to push forward once again, or maybe not. A lot more Zerglings are being made, but I don't think Zerglings are going to work too well against this force of Zealots, and he does not have any air force. He does have the upgrade for the air, but he doesn't have any air, and he is going to come in here, and I think, ooh, very good force here at the top of the ramp, and LiquidRet has to call it GG. Really good adaptation by oGsMC. Hope you guys enjoy that game. Another game will be coming in very shortly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next game. Don't forget to subscribe. Also check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks!